Thanks everyone for joining in on a weekday evening in India and early morning in US, mid evening in Europe. We also have folks from Abhishek's syndicate here as well. Thanks Abhishek for inviting your folks as well. Would like to introduce Shrikant, who is the founder and CEO of Hala Mobility, raising their pre-series A round, an impressive EV mobility startup. They are at 9.3 CR ARR and raising a $1 million round at a $10 million valuation. Interesting part is they are partnering with a lot of people in the EV ecosystem rather than competing with. With that, I'll let Shrikant take over. We'll do a quick pitch again for the sake of people who are joining for the first time, and post that we'll open up for Q&A and deep dive. Can take over, guys.
Thank you, Rohan, for that introduction. Let me show my face for people who haven't seen me yet. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to people who are from the different geographies, demographies. Let me cut off my video for a while. Let me start sharing my screen. Let me know once you're able to see it.
Yeah, we can see it.
Fantastic. Everyone, I'm Shrikant, founder CEO of Hala Mobility. We are a clean tech focused mobility aggregator. Again, as Rohan mentioned, we are not trying to be a competitor amongst people who are present here in the market today, but trying to be an ecosystem provider for the people. If you look at the Indian market today, people in the sense end customers are facing hesitant to move towards electric vehicles. Only 5% of the market is kind of converted towards electric vehicles, and this is just the beginning. The problems that these people face generally are, or they look at, is the range, charge, price, performance. But if you look at it, the problems are deep rooted. One to be after sales service, the other one to be the right charging point operator, the third one can be the serviceability aspect of it, or the resale value of the battery pack itself, or the safety concerns about the battery pack itself. And the manufacturers themselves do not have the enough know-how about how these vehicles would perform. The biggest manufacturers have crippled when it comes to servicing on the ground, right? So now the people mindset have moved towards from the ownership towards the usage of it and experience of the vehicle itself. So what we try to do is we aggregate the OEMs, the fleet owners, battery as service providers, charging point operators, financiers onto one umbrella, and the end consumer who is using the vehicle will be able to subscribe, lease, or finance the vehicle, right? Along with which we'll be providing them with the insurance, swapping, charging, service maintenance, and the resale value for the particular vehicle. All this happens through the Hala Mobility's application, where the aggregation of the different vehicles would happen, demand generation of the for the electric vehicles would happen, and helps in the targeted marketing for the specific use case segment. And at the same time, the data that is generated will be helping the charging point operators to set up the infrastructure in the right spots, and the service infrastructure guys to set up the right servicing infrastructure in the right places. If you look at it, some of the features that we give the end customer is the complete information about the vehicle and access towards the specific charging, servicing, and the swapping station that is suitable for that particular vehicle at their fingertips, rather than juggling around hundreds of applications or tens of applications that are available today in the market. And the businesses would get more of access towards the vehicle, their riders, and the hubs that they're present, which vehicle is using which driver, and what are the alerts that are being taken. So real-time alerts, real-time trips, real-time information about the vehicles that are specific towards the use case. So we are a B2B and a B2C platform. And we have created this platform with a mission to make every mile that is traveled will be towards electric vehicles. So having said that, our competition is with the combustion vehicle, not with any electric vehicle service provider today. And with a vision, we have created a product which is comprehensive, connected, and communicating mobility platform, right? And we wanted to have that value stuck where we can create impact socially, environmentally, economically, and create that benefit of cost, comfort, and convenience to the end customer. If you look at a typical retail customer, which is B2C journey, end customer like Prasad, who is working with a customer like Zepto, walks into nearest hub after downloading the Halas application. After choosing a right vehicle that will need for him, he will get the access to not just the vehicle, but also to the nearest charging, servicing, and the swapping infrastructure while his journey is started. And at the end of his tenure, which he picks up for a week, month, or long-term subscription, once he gives back the vehicle based on the driving pattern analysis of how well he is performing or how well he has used and how well he has delivered, or based on his number of trips, we create a flexible leasing plan. Now Prasad gets an option to own a vehicle on a leasing basis, which is lease to own basis. And after this tenuity, we can still be providing him with a 40% buyback value for his electric vehicle, because I know the degradation rate of the battery pack. I know how the servicing has happened, where the servicing has happened, now the total cost of that particular vehicle as well. The similar thing happens with the business, where the business onboards not just on the vehicle side, but also through the API and SDK integration that goes into their application. Example, Zepto again. Zepto can get the access to our APIs and SDKs that will be integrated directly into their mobile application, and they'll be able to choose the fleet that is needed for their particular use case. The fleet will be integrated to them, deployed to the rider. They'll be able to manage, monitor, control, provide that route optimization for the deliveries that are happening, and they get the service maintenance aspects also at the doorstep, right? With this, they'll be able to predict the number of orders that they can do, the maintenance aspect of that, and the complete logistics can be controlled, not just by managing them. And we operate in two different ways, which is fleet as a service, and last mile delivery companies would opt as a complete package, where the delivery partner is also included. In this, we provide them the software, the IoT device, the connected vehicle, service and maintenance aspect, and access to the charging infrastructure as a bulk package to each of them. And the last mile delivery is nothing but added advantage of delivery partner who is chosen by us and packaged it together to the fleet as a service. Till date, we have moved more than 92 million kilometers. This information is as of January. As of December, we have clocked 92 million kilometers, roaming around more than 40 million trips, saving tons of CO2 emissions and tons of liters of petrol consumption. We average do more than 70,000 battery swaps month on month basis, serving more than 25,000 customers to date and creating more than 2,000 jobs. We are in a sustainable partnership with 40 plus companies to date in Hyderabad, Vijayawada, Vizag, and Guntur. We are extending ourselves, or we are planning to grow ourselves in Bangalore, Chennai demographics, and Mumbai, Pune, where we initially started our pilots and paused for now. We have created an ecosystem where the demand stakeholders like the OEMs, battery as service, charging point operators, financiers, and insurers would reduce down their NPS, increase their customer satisfaction rates, and increase the utilization rate, increase the uptime of the fleet, thereby creating a supply for businesses in e-commerce, e-pharma, quick commerce, last mile delivery, and all mom and pop stores. We have been creating not just impact with the stakeholders involved on demand and supply, but also within the community, where we try to create that awareness in terms of how electric vehicles are needed. And we are proud to be featured on ZF Auto's premier show at the Formula E race. At the same time, we were showcased at the G20 summit as well. And having said that, we have been awarded with a lot of awards in terms of the innovation that we brought onto the table. That includes being the top 11 sustainable startups of Telangana, being showcased at Dubai Expo, Tokyo, and Reflect Festival at Cyprus 2023, and the count goes on, right? We have always been in the spotlight with the actions that we took in terms of the impact that we're trying to create. And having said that, with the small stint of 3 years and 5 months of our journey, we started with a mere revenue of 1.2 crores. We grew to 4.6 crores last year. This financial year, we have actually concluded at 9.4 crores of revenue onto our books. With the investment that we made is 8.8 crores to date, where almost 2.2 crores, which is almost equivalent to 300,000 USD, has been invested by the founders themselves, and 700,000 USD, which is equivalent to 6.6 crores approximately, has been given in two chunks, which is pre-seed and seed round of funds with a group of HNIs and individuals. Now we are going through a bridge round, which is coming at 100 crore valuation, which is almost equivalent to $10 million valuation with a $1 million infusement. This funds will be primarily utilized towards four different segments. One, to increase our revenue rate to 2.5 crores. The second one is increasing the fleet and having a lease to own our presence in 4 more demographics, targeting to 8 locations being active. Number 3, commercializing our technology stack, which we have built for in-house all this while, and also opening up the refurbishment unit, which we have been consuming all this while. So in and all, we are creating a circular mobility ecosystem as a platform through Hala, and we are actively talking to a lot of investors out there, and there's been a lot of interest, but then there are certain milestones. That is where the bridge round is going to be utilized too. Our presence currently is in Mumbai, Hyderabad, Vijayawada, Visakhapatnam, and Guntur. Our future plans are towards Mumbai, Pune, uh, Bangalore, and Chennai. And post our Series A successful fundraise, we also want to have our presence globally with the fleet aspect aggregation. At the same time, with the commercialization of the platform, we want to expand globally in the UAE and Europe markets. We have been supported for the technology stack by Mercedes-Benz, for the IoT stack that we have made a plug-and-play solution for any electric vehicle, 2, 3, 4 wheelers, along with the battery side as well. We have been creating solutions for Maruti Suzuki MAIL, which is Mobility and Automobile Innovation Lab, where we have created a solution for them for the campus mobility, where they want to trial it out like a Daimler's approach, further extending it to the normal people as well. We were incubated at T-Hub. We graduated from the Lab 32 flagship program, and from the T-Angels program is where we picked up our first check of investment. Post our Series A round, we will be having the 7 leaders who innovated themselves in terms of the technology operations, in terms of the solutions for the mobility segment across Europe, across biggest brands like Mercedes-Benz and Maruti. Uh, Excuse me. Coming to my team, myself, Srikanth, I have finished my PhD over the Urban Shared Mobility Helsinki chapter at the UPM Madrid. During my PhD is where Hala was born as a research thesis, while I was working for Worldwide Mobility, a technology company that provides solutions for Car2Go, Daimler, Hispano Suiza being a multi-million dollar car. And from there is where Hala was born, and I moved back to India in 2020 to start Hala. Before my PhD or my double masters, I was working here in India after my bachelor's at Google and Facebook for almost 3 years of my journey. And at Facebook is where I've met my second co-founder, Mr. Snehit Reddy, who is now a CEO, who looks into the operations and strategy piece of it. Anand is my childhood friend who has a great expertise in bringing the business acumen to the table. And I have 2 advisors, because as we started with fleet operations earlier, so we also wanted to have a strong financial know-how with us. So we have 2 advisors with us, Mr. Natarajan and Mr. GVR, who is founder of Foundation Partners and the Magnific Securities. Our investors also are Magnific Securities, Sarfin and Funny Raminini as individual. They have brought in a lot of network access, market access to the table today. That's a little bit of our story from 3 years and 5 years, and happy to answer any of your queries.
Yeah, thanks, Srikanth. Sounds interesting indeed. So yeah, while I've attended his pitch the last time and had my queries answered over a lot of calls, yeah, we are now open for questions. So people can either ask in the chat, or you can, unmute and ask directly as well, whatever you prefer. So yeah, we are now open for questions one by one.
Hi, thanks for this. This is really nice and good to see the larger problem of infrastructure getting solved here. Just wanted to quickly check, how is the cap table looking right now?
78% of 70% is with us co-founders, 34 with me, 34 with Snehit, and 10% with Anand. 2% is with my early employees who were there from the beginning. 4% is with my advisors, and 16% is with my investors. 3 people are on the cap table as investors. Yeah, that's how it is. And in fact, post this round, irrespective of the percentage that we're going to give, we are also going to create a ESOP pool for the future talent.
Okay. And from the employees' perspective, how many are the full-time employees right now?
Everyone is a full-time employee. 116 is the today as of today's count, and there are contractual employees who do like very meager work. Rest of them are all full-time.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. So we have a couple of questions in the chat. We'll start from the first one. Jay is asking, what valuation was the first round at?
First round of funds came in 2022 May, and it came at 54 crores valuation. The following round came at which is seed round, came at 75 crores valuation, which is in 2023 August again, and now we are coming at 100 crores valuation.
On a related note, there's a question by Aditi. What's the rationale of 100 CR valuation?
Right. This is primarily with the cash in the account, the revenues that we have generated, the partnerships that we have made, the order books that we had. Based on the DCF methodology is where we came to. In fact, based on the DCF, we were valued a lot more. But then, being a bridge, we are being super conservative and and also we're trying to fill this up with not the VC kind of a model, but looking at the HNIs and micro VCs. So we came to this number of 100 crore valuation.
Got it. Jay's next question is, what is the EBITDA margin and cash burn?
As of March 2024, our burn was at 23 lakh rupees. By August 2024, we are going to be achieving our operationally break even. So our EBITDA margins for the last financial year stood at almost 40%. This year, it is going to be anywhere around 28%, because the initial assets that we procured, or the assets that we were in the leasing model, that were on our books before we moved to asset light model, those were in a straight line depreciation model. So that that took a lot of hit on our books. But today, yet we are in a very good state. By August, we should be operationally profitable or operationally break even.
I think that covers Krishna Kumar's question as well. Shubham is asking, in the next 5 years, how big do you see the company becoming?
Sure. So there are two ways to look at this. I really want to place Hala in such a way where 3 brands are going to come under the hood of Hala Mobility. Hala Mobility being this aggregator leasing finance subscription model, where Circle OS being the predictive analytics platform that we were consuming all this while, should be globally reaching to a lot of countries, lot of OEMs. At the same time, with the analytics that we have built, with the predictive analytics that will give you the distance to empty, SOH, SOC, real-time analytics about the performance, about the batteries, and reducing down the operations. I also want to expand the 11 product, which 11 in Dutch means afterlife or rebirth, which is refurbishment of the battery packs, right? So that is something, all these two products which I'm speaking about, we have validated them within the existing thing. We have invested quite a good amount of monies there as well, and we have proven ourselves that we can actually do it at scale, and the need that is there within the ecosystem. So 5 years down the lane, I want to have 3 different brands under the hood of Hala Mobility, which can do different activities within the ecosystem.
Got it. So yeah, quickly rushing through the questions. There are quite a few. So Aditi's next question is, what are the revenue streams and the split among them?
Currently, the revenue streams are solely through the subscription and the leasing model. Subscription, when I say, again, it is packaged as a leasing only to the end customer, because right now, at the stage where we are explaining all this, it's getting difficult. So we are just packaging it as leasing to the end customer. So the 40% of the revenue comes from B2B, 40% comes from B2C, 20% comes from the last mile delivery, which is third-party logistic companies partner with us for the solution.
Sorry. Next question is by Kiran. Can you please highlight on the customer B2C pricing and different revenue streams?
Right. So currently, if I have to, we just have the leasing model where it is a retail customer walks into our thing, he pays a subscription fee for the particular vehicle, which is 5,400. Sorry, this is not the one. 5,400 is where a retail customer pays to me. Even for B2B, it's almost the same. It is just a couple of hundreds difference, because here the packages go in different way. It starts from 5,200 to ends to 6,400. Average stands at 5,400. So the breakup is such.
Got it. Next, we have a couple of questions by JR. What constitutes the burn, and also what was the reference to refurbishment?
Sure. currently, if you look at it, we earlier had all the vehicles on our books, right? At least to 1,865 vehicles, which came through leasing models. Of course, we did not spend our capital, but leasing structure, where we had certain resale value for those at the end of the tenure. All these vehicles were on our books, and where the leasing was guaranteed by us, right? And at that point of a time, uh, our uptime was at 78%, and the optimal point is where 92% uptime is something that we have to maintain as a fleet operation business. So that gap is where we had to take that hit of burn. And right now, because of the optimization, because of bringing in a lot of supply chain, lot of service aspects, lot of analytics onto the table, we are able to cut down the burn gradually. And also, we have built the capacities in such a way, if we are at a position in terms of scaling up, because this year I'm going to almost double the fleet. So I was building the capacities in terms of tech operations,
I had a slightly shaky connection.
and business development. So that's where a little more burn was also happening. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, I was slightly in a flaky network. Yeah, back to good network. So
Yeah.
So you were
So
covering
there
the
was another
refurbishment
question
bit.
which I missed to answer, which was around the refurbishment piece. When I
Right.
speak about refurbishment, biggest uh, one of the biggest gray area that I saw in the market, and people are looking for a solution around that, is today we're talking about buying a battery pack and recycling the battery pack, right? If you look at what happened with biggest companies, or people who have raised a lot of capital today, like sorry if I'm name dropping here, but Loham or Batex are really not doing the refurbishment phase, but they're doing the recycling phase, right? And today there is no capability in Indian market, at least, to give you the resale value of a battery pack. It is going only at a kilos basis, which is not feasible for anyone. In our case, we have picked up 44 lakhs worth of waste material. We could convert them into almost 4.8 crores worth of battery packs, which we are using by ourselves. The break-even point, or return on investment, is just in 11 months period. And that I could see a great value add within the infra that is being set up by ourselves and the operations that we're doing. The refurbishment fees here says is the battery that has been consumed after 3 years, it's never going to be zero. It's always going to be greater than at least 55%, given the use case of 3,000 kilometers run rate per vehicle. So after having a lot of understanding about these battery packs, we are now able to rip the battery pack apart, remove the cells, get the rating of each of the cells, repack them, and reuse it, right? So thereby, I am actually extracting a lot of value from the battery pack than compared to other players, who are running operations on the ground. So that's the advantage we are able to bring it to the fleet owners, fleet operators who are going to add the vehicles to my platform. Refurbishment. Oh, yeah, I think we'll go like one by one.
Yeah, starting off from where we stopped. So next question is by Kiran. Percentage of revenue from B2C and B2B. I think you told that already.
It's 40,
Uh,
and 20%.
yeah. So Aditi's next question is how much value this predictive model will bring to the business in future?
Yes. Something that we have learned in this 3 years and 5 months of our journey is, if a battery pack goes to a service aspect, it can be level 1 to level 4 bifurcation. That again, we are trying to create this terminology within the industry. Is any issue that happens, we really are not aware. The customer is not aware. The business is not aware what exactly is happening. And today, some of the cash-rich companies are dying because they don't know what to do with their battery packs, right? And the manufacturers are not able to support them. If I send a battery pack to the manufacturing unit, which is sitting in Delhi or Noida, sitting in Hyderabad or anywhere around, it takes literally 25 days for me to refix that battery pack and come back. And I really don't know if that will run, right? So that 25 days of downtime per vehicle is something that we can bring as an advantage for someone who is using the vehicle. With our predictive analytics, we can give them at what level the battery pack is degraded, what is the cell level voltage, where is the issue, why is the issue, is it the charger default, cell default, is it the usage issue, or is it becomes because of the degradation at the vehicle level. So with the investment of less than 1/20th of the cost of the battery pack, we can extend the life by 25%. That is the value that we can bring to a OEM, to a battery as a service operator, or a fleet operator.
Got it. So while we still have a lot of questions in the chat, wanted to check if anyone wants to unmute and ask their query directly as well. Happy to take that as well, or else we'll move on with chat if no one wants to speak
So
out.
yes, this is Karthik here. Just one question around a couple of competitors. Honda is coming up big time with their battery banks all over the country, and they're putting up in the even before they are launching their vehicle.
Yeah.
So where do you think you stand in competition to them? First question. Second question is in terms of your OPEX. How is your OPEX run and what's your liquidity status?
Sure. In terms of Honda setting up their battery packs even before they came into the market, or Honda, again, the acceptance rate, like the penetration rate of the batteries, or we are not trying to be competitor of that. Tomorrow, if they have their battery packs set up randomly across the cities, we will be the point of contact who can help them set up the swapping station, the right point to create the utilization for their battery packs, right? Because we are dealing with almost 286 GB of data, 92 million kilometers of information, and we are being that data platform where we can help infrastructure players to take a wise decision in setting up their right infrastructure in the right spot. Thereby, that creates the utilization and uptime of the infrastructure. We are not being a competitor for any of the swap players, because today I've already aggregated the Battery Smart network, which is India's biggest battery swapping network, Race Energy, and Rapid Charge network that comes from Fortum and Log9, right? So people have already seen the advantage that we're bringing onto the table in that way. Number two is in terms of the operational expense. Today, we look at categories like the IoT and platform cost, the corporate expenses, the team expenses, sometimes the maintenance aspects of the vehicles as well. Few vehicles like 1865 vehicles that were directly leased out by the leasing entities. We take care of the maintenance aspects and the infrastructure that is set up on the ground to run these particular vehicles, right? So that's where the operational expense come into picture. Operational expense also would incur a little bit of the logistics in terms of distribution, redistribution, and setting up the things. Today we have almost 2.6 crores lying in our account, and we have a decent runway for the next 12 to 15 months period.
Nice. I think Aditi had this question, and I also want to understand this. What does it take for you to set up a refurbishing this one? What's your capital requirement to set up a full-fledged refurbishing thing where your turnaround time is very short instead of the 25 days that you're talking about right now?
Yes. Today, at least I think, let me go back at least 50 years before, where Chatak has created a mark stating that automobile is a big boy game, right? And that has been actually reworked by a lot of young startups like us, where we are saying that no, anyone with a proper know-how about electric vehicles or any vehicle will be able to do that. And today, if you look at it, battery manufacturers are mushrooming everywhere. It is a minimum setup of a 3.5 crore rupees to create a almost 3.3 megawatt power 3.3 megawatt of energy can be provided or developed from there. That means every month I will be able to develop 3,000 battery packs provided with only one shift. If I do it in 3-shift or 2-shift fashion, I'll be able to develop 6,000 or manufacture 6,000 battery packs from there, which is almost equivalent to 6.6 megawatt energy. So the investment is one time, but then the outcome would be in a compounded manner. We could set up our plant, which we did for 7 tons of waste material, which almost accommodates to every battery pack that comes from this 7-ton wastage is almost 400 battery packs, which is equivalent to 2.2 kilowatts, right? 800 or to 900 kilowatt hour of battery pack has been made from 90 lakh rupees of investment. And this is not just stopping here. I can still do it for the next 80 to 100 tons of wastage that I've already subscribed to.
I see. Okay. So your net investment would be what again, if you can quote that last number?
So if you look at it today, I have a capacity where I can make 500 battery packs a month with a 90 lakh rupees investment that I'm running at a one shift only. If I run it 2 shifts, I can do it for 1,000 battery packs, which are almost equivalent to 1 megawatt energy.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Hey, the 1,000 battery pack that you're referring to, does that equate to 1,000 vehicles?
Yes, it equates to 1,000 vehicles.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Cool. Anyone else wants to ask, or let's go back to chat if people are preferring asking there, we can do that.
I have put one in the chat. I would prefer to kind of, if you can take a look at it.
Sure. So yeah, moving back to the chat where we stopped. We stopped at Aditi's question. So JR's next question was refurbishment will involve significant capital investment. Your views, please.
Yeah, no, this I think he has answered, but
Yeah.
there's one later on where I'm kind of saying that
Yeah,
would
be there.
yeah.
Yeah, you can ask if you want to, no worries.
Yeah, no, I was just kind of wondering, would it be not better? Because see, when you look at from a consumer perspective, refurbishment is not his or her, concern. The concern is that the vehicle, if I own it, if I lease it, then the entire thing is to the operator, the lease operator, right? So I was just wondering if we could invest in the swapping infrastructure rather than refurbishment infrastructure. That was my thought that crossed my mind. So I just wanted to know his thoughts.
So, investing into the swapping infrastructure, there are many players investing into it and doing it. Like like the names of Sun Mobility, like the names of Electric Side, like the names of SAR Group doing it, or the today Battery Smart Network, Race Energies Network. People are already doing it, and just like Honda is also coming up with their swap network, right? So there is a chance only if there is an interoperability. Now the markets are already going to be congested. If you look at just the leasing side of it, or rental side of it, or finance side of it, there are 57 players in India today playing in the similar segment. What are we trying to do more for the end customer? I completely echo with you, sir, but then there are a lot of players who are already there, right? Just investing into the swapping infrastructure, it is going to increase infrastructure on the ground, right? But then if the battery pack is actually not working, how do we ensure the uptime of the battery pack? So now, to increase this accessibility to the end customer, which you rightly mentioned, customer only looks at, am I getting the battery pack or no, right? So the refurbishment is the solution. We're not giving it to the end customer, but we're giving it to the OEMs, battery as a service guys, or swapping station providers on the ground, right? Which is again battery as service providers only. So the refurbishment is for these three players, and giving them the uptime, or creating a demand is only to the end customer. Now, to maintain this 95% of the uptime for the end customer by these operators, there needs to be a lot of float. When I say lot of float, that means more number of battery packs have to be deployed. Today, to create that 1:1 ratio, or where the customer, where the companies are promising within 1 minute, or within 10 seconds, or within 15 seconds, you're going to be swapping your battery pack. That means you need to have 1:125% of the battery pack available. That means for every 100 battery packs, you need to deploy 125 battery packs onto the ground. That is when you'll be able to do it. You will be able to swap the battery pack within the timeline. So that's like a huge investment that is going into the ground. So for them, for the battery as service operators to optimize this, to get it down to at least 50-30%, is when they have control on the battery pack.
Understood. I was just referring to it because I was with the CEO of IIT Madras Research Park, and he was referring to this, and we were talking for a long time. I'll connect with you offline. He has some ideas, so I'll pass it on to you, and if it works, that will be great.
Done. Looking forward, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
Sure. We will move back to the chat now. So, yeah, question by Kiran. What were the challenges you faced to reach the current scale, and what challenges do you think to scale further?
Right. To reach to this extent, finding the right manufacturer was a biggest problem, right? Today, I would say India is filled up with assemblers than manufacturers, right? There is two categories right now. One category is like premium segment. The other category is cluttered market of 178 manufacturers today in India. And these guys, they do not have control over their supply chain. Again, from the manufacturing side, which they don't follow the actual standards of MORT policies, and then coming to the supply chain where the vehicles will not be maintained right, and then moving towards the battery side where the batteries were actually suboptimal, which were not suitable for the Indian ecosystem. They were again challenging. And again, all of this now with the latest AIS 156 phase 3, we could solve a lot of problems, but then still the talent is still a problem in terms of finding them, nurturing them, understanding, helping them, how the electric vehicles perform, what kind of problems do we have. Adding to it, the biggest challenge today is the infrastructure itself. We are going and setting up random infrastructure at random places without even choosing where exactly this has to go. And the biggest players are only and only fighting in the tier 1 cities. Everyone neglecting about the tier 2, tier 3 towns. Today, I'm proud to say that we are one of the first startups to go start our pilots with the Shakti Foundation's partnership to start in the remote area where there is 2000 people penetration only. People are still looking for solutions out there as well, right? So challenges are many, and we are just at the start of this electric vehicle revolution.
Cool. Next question is by Aditi. Who are your top competitors? So if you want to move to that slide and also cover it at the same time.
Sure. If you look at it, we are creating a mobility aggregator platform, which is first of a kind in India. Globally, I do have a competitors, but for India, this is first of a kind. And in terms of aggregation as a business, it's a far-fetched thing which we all know. But then if you look at the verticals that I'm operating, just the last mile delivery segment, Zip is one of the competitor that I can see. If you look at the retail segment, even EVs is one of the other ones. If you look at the uh, subscription side of it, there are players like Switch who are coming into the market. So I'm not trying to be a competitor among them, but I'm trying to be an ecosystem enabler for all of them. I see Zip as a partner than a competitor. But if you ask me who is my competitor is a combustion vehicle. 2.4 crore two-wheelers that are sold in India, we have to be competing with them to convert them into electric vehicles.
Cool. Sounds good. Uh, I think JR's next question, IIT we already covered. Competitors, Rajiv, we just covered. If it's still not clear, do let us know. We'll cover again. Aditi's next question is, how many EVs are under your fleet currently?
Ours is completely 100% electric fleet itself. 2,275 is the exact count as we speak. And by the end of this month, we should be at 2,800, 2,700.
Got it. Next question by Rajiv. Any direct competition outside India?
Direct competition, yes. There are compare and book applications. One of the competitor is the application that I built myself, which is Chippy, which is based out of Madrid. Again, it's spread across Europe, which has 275 service providers aggregated onto that particular platform itself. And in fact, my initial idea was to bring that particular platform to India, but then investor mindset was to concentrate on Europe and US only. There are also a couple of other competitors like Move and others who are there in across Europe and US.
Got it. Next question is by Jay. Battery refurbished business is there. Any competition, since any big player will definitely come?
Yes, a lot of business is, if I understood well, is there a business for battery refurbishment unit and is there a competition? Am I understanding it right?
Uh, yeah, Jay, if you want to unmute and clarify.
Yes, you are right.
Yeah. So Jay, if you look at it, the battery refurbishment as a business has a lot of potential, a lot of opportunity. Today, within the ecosystem, I see people who have bootstrapped but scaled their fleet to 2,000 vehicles are almost crippling, right? Just to name, Scoo EV in Bengaluru. 1,820 vehicles are of Heronix vehicles. They don't know what to do. Ento Logistics, which is backed by Mr. Shibulal himself, they have 8,000 fleet on board. Today, they have 2,260 vehicles running on road. Rest of them are down. Like that, if you just look at one of the biggest players, Zip Electric, who have raised 25 million recently, has almost claims 16,000 vehicles on their platform, but literally 50% of their fleet is down because of the battery pack side, right? So there is a huge demand if we just get into it, setting up the right factory for the refurbishment. Again, why would not the OEM do this? Is because each battery pack to finish off the first stage involves 3 hours. If to do the 4 stages, it would involve 6 hours per battery pack, right? So it depends on the stage to stage basis, removing of the cells and everything. So the initial first 15 days would just go into the removal of the scrap from the battery pack. So many OEMs are not interested to do this, but there is a lot of gray area which we can tap into. And why are recyclers not able to do it? Because recyclers who have invested a huge amount of monies in setting up the recycling plants till date have diversifies their funds into investing into the startups who are into fleet operations, expecting they would get the business, right? So now, when to refurbish, when to recycle is something that we all also know, all also should know. And whoever has that capability only will be able to win this game. And I would not say I'm the only one I'll be able to win the game. There will be players who will be coming into the system, but I'm ahead of many players who are already there in the system.
Um, um, uh, I get a feeling that there could be a parallel economy in this space where non-OEM could get into this business as well.
Yes.
As an aggregator, you are getting into it because you want to kind of optimize on your entire business strategy. But there could be other people who can get into the space as well. It can be an industry in itself, right?
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah.
Just like battery manufacturers.
Yeah. So at that particular point in time, you could possibly choose not to do a capital investment in refurbishment factory to build out and so on and so forth. You could outsource it to those guys.
Exactly. I can still again be an aggregator for them. I can still just leverage the CircleOS analytics platform, both the sides. 11 being the refurbishment unit, I can still be an aggregator at that point of a time. And Hala, just like its aggregation, I'll cut down my operations at that point of a time and just stick to aggregate, generate the demand for them.
Right. Okay, got it.
Got it. Next question, couple of questions by Aditi. How much capital will be required to support the refurbished business, and how many batteries in terms of units you have refurbished till now?
Right. With a 90 lakh rupees investment on the equipment and 44 lakh rupees investment on the waste battery packs that are not used by any entity, we have made almost 600 battery packs to date, and we'll still have raw materials that we can make another 400 to 500 number of battery packs. So with the investment of 90 lakhs, we have recouped 1,000 odd batteries. We have a capacity to 1,000 batteries, and this investment on the machinery can give us yields for at least for the next 1-2 years, because the electronics come with 1 year of warranty. But then just giving it like on a very optimistic numbers, monthly we'll be able to generate 1,000 battery packs refurbished from that particular investment.
1,000 battery packs. So okay, so you can per month, right? 1,000
Per
battery
month,
packs
per month, yes.
So on a lighter note, you got 6 months of Shibulal.
Yes.
Yeah. Got it. JR's next question is solution for the consumer, both for individual and fleet, is swapping infra, not refurbishment. Refurbishment is for owners of the vehicle as they think of TCO. Your thoughts
Yeah,
on
he answered that.
Completely
Yeah, he
agree.
answered that. Yeah, he answered that.
Cool. Next question is by Rajiv. You said you have around 110 full-time employees. Will 2.2 CR suffice for OPEX for 12 to 15 months?
So my burn today is at 23 lakhs as of March, and we are significantly, in fact, in the month of December when we saw a significant downtime, we have seen a burn going to almost 48 lakh rupees as well. It was again because of a lot of challenges in terms of supply chain, maintaining the uptime, creating that demand, and businesses being businesses in India. So we have seen those challenges, but we have cut down the burn to significantly 23 lakh rupees. And as we say, my expense are going to be cutting down to my revenue to expense are going to be cutting down to 0 by August. So I still have a lot of capital that I can infuse more into the development side of it.
Got it. Next question is by Kiran. What's the exit plan approx? How many years, and is it going to be strategic acquisition or IPO? It's very hard to say at this stage, but yeah, I'll let Sri also answer.
It is hard to say, comment anything, but if I were it, I would always aim for a IPO, playing for a longer run. But there are great number of companies who are uh, coming forward in terms of building up their product lines, building up their channels. So there can be acquisition offers also in between, because we got an acquisition offer like long time when it is in 2021 itself, when we were incubated at T-Hub, just because of the tech stack that we have made for the fleet optimization. That is where the acquisition offer came into picture. So because we are playing into the technology, operations, aggregation, and three different layers, there can be a lot of opportunity in between as well. But then time would decide where we'll end up.
Sure, makes sense. Yeah, bunch of last few questions. We'll quickly do 30-second to 1 minute answers. Subrata, any details on TAM and SAM for you?
Yeah, as I say, today only 5% of the market is converted into electric vehicle, right? This is not my number. This is the statistics that are talking about. If you look at any of the e-Vahan data or any of the publicly available information. So the TAM is, I compare, as I say, the competition is with combustion vehicles. Every year, there are 2.4 crore two-wheelers that are sold in Indian market, and only 5% of it is converted. So addressable market is around 95% of it every year. And then today, if you look at it, the logistic players or wherever in the segments that we're targeting, we are in need anywhere around 320,000 vehicles just in the last mile delivery segment. If you sum the total fleet operators, 57 guys playing in this particular market, maximum that have rolled out into the on the ground are anywhere around 80 to 90,000 number of fleet. So there is still a huge gap that we can fulfill.
Cool. Next question is, okay, some of the chat is not loading for me. Yeah, TAM SAM we covered. Jaskaran's question is, how is your business different from your peers? I think you kind of explained that while talking on how you are different and our ecosystem partner. Jay's question, exit strategy we covered. Global competition we covered. Yeah, HM's question is, which cities are you planning to enter in the next 6 months, and what is the lowest lease period available to rent a vehicle?
In the next 6 months, our target is to be in Chennai, Bengaluru, Mumbai, and Pune as tier 1 cities. But then we are still, expecting to launch fewer tier 2, tier 3 towns as well, as small as, or into the cities of Ranchi, into Durg, into places like them where we still have demand, where we have some exclusive partnerships with players like Zomato, Swiggy's, and Zeptos. We are looking into those angles as well. Major deployments will go into the 4 major cities, which is Mumbai, Pune, Bengaluru, and Chennai. The lowest lease period available for B2B, the minimum is 11-month tenure. For retail customers, the minimum is just a 1-week period.
With the swap, infrastructure that you're building, or the refurbishment infrastructure that you're building, why would you keep the B2B at 11 months?
So all this while
you could actually go for a 3-year or a 5-year, the US kind of a lock-in period where you guarantee the up time, and you have a longer revenue.
True, sir. In terms when I initially started up, no one were ready to give me at least 3 months,
Okay.
6 months of commitment, right?
Got it.
So,
Understood.
so as we move forward today, at least as we speak, today's conversation itself, like this morning, with the tripartite that we formed, with Zomato, Shadowfax, and Hala, we're gonna get that 3 years of leasing contract with almost
Excellent.
50 vehicles to start with. So people started gaining that confidence that yes, this will actually run, and there's no problem in giving them commitment, right? For all of them, it was like, you are a service provider, you have the infrastructure, just give me. So
Okay.
the thought.
Got it. Understood. Understood. I understand the initial hiccups that you've been going through, but strategically you should move towards a longer contract period, at least with B2B.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I would suggest is that what is your thought process with the Olas and the Ubers, the four-wheelers?
Four-wheeler, like the for the ride hailing segment, you mean, sir?
Exactly.
Yeah. So in India, again, one of the markets that's gonna grow aggressively is corporate sharing, which today, I see Blue Smart like entities are coming up, deploying a lot number of vehicles there. Again, they're only targeting to the ride hailing segment, but the corporate sharing is something that is going to still take a big hit in our country. But again, how far is it pandemic proof? I really can't say. But there is a huge scope across, it can be hotels, restaurants, uh, catering services, or towards the corporate segments. This four-wheeler segment has a lot of market available.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought, that if you are favorably inclined towards exploring opportunities towards that, that will also add to your value.
Yeah. As an aggregator, sir, we want we want to be a multimodal mobility platform, because multimodality and interconnectivity is where anything can change the dynamics of a country. This is something that I've learned after learning about Helsinki. 3 years of my time spent there, understanding that markets. And in fact, if you look at it, the way the Indian government is also moving is they are looking for a multimodal connectivity solution. Today, they have implemented it for the supply chain side, and slowly they're going to pass it on to logistics segments or mobility segment as well.
Sure. Thank you so much for your time. I kind of have got some idea, and I'll get in touch with you offline if you respond to my request. Thank you.
We will connect you, sir. No worries.
Sure. Thank you so
Last
much.
questions left. Question by Kiran is: are you currently also running Chippy in Europe?
No. I'm not doing that. It was my last working day was in somewhere in 2019 December. After that, I moved back to India. I've took a complete exit from there. Like, I've completely moved on from that particular entity.
Got it. Next question is by Harsh. What do you think about players like Sun Mobility who are getting into swappable battery network?
Right. People like Sun Mobility are crucially important, who are going to be setting up the infrastructure in the right spot, and for the right demographics, for the right use cases. It is very much needed for the market, the way we are actually growing in the EV ecosystem today, right? So not just Sun Mobility, but there are many such players who are in the industry today, who are setting up the infrastructure. But we need to be vigilant, diligent in terms of where we are setting up the infrastructure, right? Certain regions, something that I believe is mobility is local. Number two is we need to be providing the solutions for the demographics that need the actual the solution, right? Battery Smart has come up with a different solution in terms of, rather than investing into the swapping infrastructure itself, they have set up just a brick and mortar store where there is a physical person available, because social discipline is something that India lacks today, and creating an automatic solution is something for far-fetched for the people mindset that we have. These are the lessons that we learned from bounces, Ulus of the world, where huge amounts of investments have gone into, and then people take it for granted, right? So There are these kind of solutions are really needed, but at the same time, which location, which demography, what kind of a controlled environment are we providing this solution for? Because any kind of mishap that happens at this station because of a negligence of one customer would take the entire station to a toss.
I agree to that, Shrikant, but actually a person in charge has to be mandatory because of the weight of these batteries. I think if we are talking about, if we are talking about India going towards equality model where we'll see more and more female riders in the B2B space as well, I think they are not going to be able to manage the swapping on their own. So they will need a helper for sure.
Yes,
But the
yes.
moment we talk about a helper, I think the economies do not become viable. That's what I feel when I read about the transcript of Sun Mobility in that sense.
Yeah, exactly, Harsh. If you look at it, the exact opposite is what Battery Smart is doing today, right? It is in a very controlled environment. The swapping station, or the swapping station, which is like their physical battery packs placed there, and the problem is being actually solved, right? So instead of investing 6.5, 7 lakh rupees on that swapping machine, and then you're actually putting a person there who is actually scanning your QR code, I don't see much value for the end customer at the end, right? So again, there can be a lot of debates on this
But
particular.
I think battery swapping industry is not like a egg and a chicken story. I think it will actually pick up some traction, but I think we have a long way to go there.
Yes,
Thank you, Shrikant.
thank you, Harsh.
Cool. Next question is from Aditi. How many EVs are deployed with top 5 B2B customers?
We are currently working with Big Basket, Amazon, Flipkart, Zomato, Zepto. These are like the top 5 customers, and directly or indirectly, 100% of the fleet is, sorry, 90% of the fleet is running with them. Rest of the 10% is with the mom and pop stores you know, like Quicklo, which is a laundry service provider, or the food delivery caterers. They're there. So 90% of the fleet is running with the category A big players.
Got it. So yeah, folks, I have also shared the link to the deal page on Invest of Hala, where you can see more details about Hala, the terms for the deal, as well as deck and revenue numbers, etc. as well. So yeah, do check that out, and you can enter your intent there as well if you are interested. Yeah, last question in the chat is from Krishna. What is the lifetime of Hala EV in years? I am from Hyderabad. I see Hala EVs used by delivery executives in many areas of Hyderabad, but I see that maintenance is not so great. How do you ensure vehicles are used for optimal number of years?
Right. Right service, like preemptive maintenance and the predictive maintenance, is something super important for the fleet that is being running on the road. The moment the vehicle has gone from the hub to a customer, it is something the customer's responsibility to always look into it. But then there is always a predictive maintenance that goes into check. So on a day-to-day basis, the vehicle will not be able to monitor on a physical aspect level, or at least motor controllers and chassis will be looked into. The moment the vehicle comes into the hub, there is a inspection process that goes through, and if there is a physical abuse, the customer will be repaying for the losses that are happened. And of course, there is inventory that is lying, and then the refurbishment of that particular asset happens then and there itself. Thereby, the life can be extended. If you look at it, the major component that we can extract from the battery pack after 3 years period, which can extend to 6 years, is the chassis. The chassis that is lying on the system. Rest of the electronic components maximum would come at a 1 year span itself. But then, motors would never die just that easily.
Right. Cool. With that, we've covered all the questions in the chat. So yeah, one final attempt if anyone wants to ask again their final
Rohan,
question.
I have one last question if it's okay for you, Shrikant.
Yes, please.
So Shrikant, I'm in the business of we do smart building automation, and we deploy our teams across various cities to complete our projects, and they have to be hosted there for about a month or a few weeks at times. And we find it really challenging to arrange a vehicle in those cities because they stay somewhere and they have to move to the sites and they have to really travel a lot. And I see a huge opportunity there because there are very few cities in India like Goa where fleet sharing is a very common phenomenon. So in a lot of other cities, there are no such models available where we can hire a vehicle for a month or for a couple of weeks, especially for the business users, for our technicians, for our engineers. So, is there any model of this sort that you are targeting? Because I see a huge gap there. Of course, you are working on with major, like, Zomato and Swiggy, they are huge players, but there also happens to be such fragmented players where volumes can really run into big numbers.
Yeah. So if you look at our customer base, the way Hala's application is targeted is to 4 different customers. One is the last mile delivery gig workers. The second one is corporate people. The third one is the commuters, and the fourth one is the new city implants, which is people who are moving into the city. In your case, Harsh, right? So the reason why we have only concentrated in the first segment, not into the other segment, but we have tried ourselves into the commuter segment and corporate spaces. With the recent partnership that we have with the Raheja Mindspace and Phoenix here in Hyderabad, we are now moving into the corporate space as well. With the partnership with L&T Metro, we have started with the 2 metro stations where announcements, everything happens, and all the first and last mile connectivity is happening with them. So slowly we'll be getting into the customer segment also, which is a huge opportunity. But new implants, if I only look at the corporate, it is not possible, because the new implants into the city, if it is corporate, they come into the huge position, the biggest positions, and every facility is provided to them. But I'll have to look into a different segment altogether where the new implants can utilize the solution that we have today.
Agreed. I understand. Yes, sure.
But any which ways, I mean, maybe even if you're not targeting it directly today, the solution is available where a vehicle can be picked up just for a week, 1 month, 15 days, or longer period as well.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, I mean, for that period of time right now, this works pretty fine, actually. Yes.
Yeah.
But only thing is how soon you're able to reach tier 2 cities. That's what we need to see.
Yeah, tier 2 cities today, we are successful with 3 cities, which is Vijayawada, Guntur, Visakhapatnam. My strongest bet is also on the tier 2 cities and tier 3 towns, because that is where the actual solution is also needed, where every one of us are fighting in the tier 1 cities.
So Ahmedabad today, I mean, I belong to Ahmedabad, and Ahmedabad today is home to a lot of EV manufacturers like Aster and a couple of other people. So they are very aggressive in this space. So
Yeah.
maybe you can look at that as well.
Yes, Gift City was one of my target places to just launch my services there. But it was too early for us to just get there without any formal things. But then we were recently in conversation with Mercure EV Tech, which is again a listed entity there. We are trying to have a joint venture with them. But then the conversations are still going. So my target is still there at the Ahmedabad location.
Certainly, certainly.
One small suggestion I have. This is coming from these small town temple towns which are coming up as the upscale tourism hubs in the country. If you go there, they're all locked down for vehicular movement beyond the point within the core city area. That is a huge business opportunity which I think you can really tap into at this point, given the kind of roads and given the kind of infrastructure that's available there. So it's a suggestion, and you should really do a good market survey.
Thanks, Karthik. I'll surely explore. In fact, it is such a correlation. Today morning, I was having a conversation with Loadshare as an entity. That particular entity is doing some amazing job in the rural parts of Jammu and Kashmir, right? So, walking into the areas where it's filled with ice, and how people are going and doing their deliveries. We're now trying to do that analysis in terms of really EVs are needed in that particular location. Is the solution an optimal solution that people are needing? Will people be accepting it given the price range, given the costing and everything, right? So I'm still evaluating, but thanks for putting that point forward.
No, I think pricing is not the challenge in certain tourism related towns, especially given they have enough money that is flowing in there. So you should look at it. Probably I can work with you offline and see how that can be done.
Sure thing, Karthik.
Hey, one just quick question. What is the JV that you were referring to with the gift city company?
Not with the Gift City, sir. It is primarily with a manufacturer called Mercure EV Tech, where they have evaluated the fleet optimization and the battery wellness suite that we have made, and the analytics suite. So they were more interested in terms of having the technology integrated into their vehicles and utilizing it for their refurbishment fees, and then deploying it to the Hala's application stack.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
So, Shrikant, hi, this is Abhishek. Sorry, one last question. If you could just, also throw last, a few words on your long-term vision and the moat which you can sustain, with Hala,
Yes.
vis-a-vis your competitor. And what will be your expansion plan if you go global?
Right. I would just like to showcase one slide in the deck, which I'll share it right after this call as well. In terms of the Hala's biggest vision is to be that ecosystem provider, or anything related to mobility should go through Hala's platform. It can be the not just the analytics piece, but also the value added services through Hala's platform and the refurbishment, where the complete life cycle is going through Hala as an entity. And for the global expansion piece, we have already explored regions like Dubai, Qatar, Kuwait, with Talabat as a partner. I have already worked closely with Cyprus region, where you might have heard about this entity called as Hertz. They have a company called ABQ Leasing, which is the parent company which leases out vehicles to Europcar and Hertz. So we have started conversations with them. We wanted to start the pilots there as well in Cyprus, Limassol. In African regions, that's where Spyro is coming into picture. Spyro also was looking at our solution stack in terms of expanding. For Indonesia, we were looking at the tripartite arrangement, going with the battery and the scooter manufacturer because of the subsidies that they were giving it out there, right? So we have been exploring a lot of opportunities while doing a lot of things here within the country here in India. So the solution, the offering for the global market is going to be Circle OS, bringing out all the wastage from that particular market and doing the refurbishment piece here in India, and expanding this leasing business across different multiple demographies here in India through Hala's solution.
Perfect. Thank you.
Cool. I guess we've covered all the questions, chat, verbal. So yeah, thanks a lot everyone for joining us across time zones and geographies. Appreciate it, and thanks Shrikant for joining late on a weekday. All your hustle. So yeah, appreciate it, and yeah, we'll be sharing the recording of this call with all of you as well, both over email or however we are connected. And with that, do let us know if you would like to be part of their growth journey. Thank you everyone for joining.
Looking forward.
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all the way, Shrikant. Cheers to that.
Thank you so much.
Also, if we can connect offline, that will be good. In some ways, is it possible, Rohan? What is the deal?
Yes, we'll be connecting anyone who's interested, right? If you are part of my syndicate, do let me know. If you are a part of Abhishek's group, let him know, and we'll definitely connect you all one-on-one or wishes to connect.
Great. Thank you. I'll connect again, Shrikant, with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Karthik. Sure. Looking forward.
Thank you.